Greetings, everybody. I am no longer locked out of my room. And for anyone wondering, I think I accidentally jammed it or something. But who knows? I think there's something in my face. What? How? What? What? What the fuck? Hello, drawn blood. Thank you for that first time chat. I am just full of scuff today, aren't I? Anyway, allow me to explain what I'm gonna be doing today. So, let me actually get the background out. So this is what I am working on right now. This is a project for my art history class. And basically I am technically not. It's basically just meant to be like a concept or a sketch, but I wanted to try and see if I could get a little more thorough with my idea. Because I've also, thank you for the follow! The follower goal has now been met. But anyway, I'm gonna go take my Vyvanse. You here for the goal? Hell yeah. Let me just take my Vyvanse real quick. What's the goal? 280 followers. Anyway, allow me to explain what I am doing here. And allow me to also bring up the first part that I did. Is this? I plan on adding more detail and fixing the shading I did here. But this is the first part of the project I did. I love how I do hair. I like how I do hair as well. I actually use this brush. Let me make it bigger. I use this brush for the hair shade. Which it goes like this. Yeah, the shiny parts make you want to bite it. You like licorice? You don't know if you like licorice. You just think edible cord thing. Yeah. I still need to figure out how to make a brush of my hair highlights. But anyway. Is the second part, which is the past artist. He is meant to be kind of like the Romanticism era. Brush for that shape can be convenient. Yeah. So I'm gonna increase the opacity of this, and I'm gonna lock it. Gonna remove these two hide those two layers. I'm gonna go ahead and start working on the lines over here. Yeah, if you make a shape pretty often with your art and stuff, it's probably a good idea to not be like me and make a brush for that shape. Or a stamp or something. Which can be especially easy to do in Clip Studio Paint. Because Clip Studio Paint allows you to make custom brushes. And you can even have them, have the brushes be a brush shape for your tools. Like for example, for hair highlights, you can have it be a curve tool. And there are other text brush shapes that you could use, but I just use the regular pen shape. Simply because it's the one I prefer. I don't really do a lot of texturing with my line art. Unless it's to kind of like show the contour of the hair, or when I draw curly hair, which I actually do a lot because when I learned how, I just could not stop. Which, let me show an example of some of the curly hair I have done. This is a character I made back when I was like 16. He was originally a self-insert character, but at this point, he's become less and less like me. Because I am no longer 16 years old. And you can see these big swoops. Also, hello, Metal! So you can see how I, do curls here. How are you? I'm doing quite well. I accidentally locked myself out of my room, but as you can see, I was able to return to my room. With the locking myself out, not. Yeah, it's definitely not fun. 11 Hay joined Twisty Hair because of choosing how to draw them. Yeah. Luckily, depending on the software you use, like for me, I use Clip Studio Paint. Some people actually make free to download brushes that kind of like show the way that have curly hair. I, for example, added these braids to my palette. Switch to Krita because free. I'm sure you can find some of these for Krita as well. But, hold on. on your tag hair. Let me go find it real quick. I think this is it. But this is kind of a ringlet brush. Of course, depending on the hair you want, you might want a different kind of brush. I know for me, I plan on using this, over here. But of course, I plan on doing a new layer for, doing the line, and then I plan on tracing over the line with my own line. Now... oh? And yes, for those who see, in this little corner, yes, I named my own brush Kung Pao Penis. Also, thank you for the streak, Metal! 40, indeed. And something else that I'm probably gonna start doing more once I'm done with all the lines is that I'm going to thicken up some of the lines around, the outline. I plan on thickening up a bit. I'm also gonna quickly add a bit of detail to this brush here, like physical brush. That I am drawing specifically for this illustration. And I'm going to also grab the color of the metal and paint that. And I'll also start painting, coloring in the brush. Be going again. Maybe you have a headache again. Understandable. Make sure you drink plenty of water and take pain medicine if you are able. Now the reason why I'm using the same color as the hair for the brush bristles here is just because I don't feel like adding a different color to the color palette. So I'm gonna go ahead and start adding the sleeve over here. And the line thickening in the corner here is just something I do for my own art because I think it makes it look nicer. Like, it looks a little more complete, in my opinion. I'm also gonna add a little wrinkle over here. I'm gonna go ahead and use the curve tool to make the sleeve. Now we do this. And I'll do this. Kind of like add a bit of depth to the line. And now I'm going to do something over here. Because I don't want to bother just doing the whole line by hand, and I have the curve tool. But yeah. So originally the wall here was actually blank, but I know that historically in Victorian times in like England and stuff, they actually had wallpaper with designs, often like flowers and stuff. So instead of just having a blank teal wall, I grabbed one of the image assets I don't remember which one it was. It was in here. Let me see if I can find it. It was this. So I plopped it in and I turned down the opacity so that it's not like just popping out too much. And I plan on doing the same thing with the floor here so that it's not just brown. Actually, hold on. Hold on. Let's clip this. And let's reduce the opacity. Oh yeah, this definitely looks way better. Also, I'd like to mention something real quick. There is an ominous rectangular cube over here. I currently have no idea what to do with it. But that is just for whenever I do add something here. It's probably gonna be some kind of chest. But anyway. I'm gonna go ahead and continue with this. Which I am going to start off with the chest area. Then after this fold, I will use the curve tool. Because there's just this long continuous line. It goes from down here to where the fold begins. And of course I gotta make sure I mesh it with the other line. And the reason I'm adding these folds is just because I want to. And now we use a Bezier curve. I just realized I accidentally made a tangent. That is not good. Tangent has been avoided. Now let's do that. And I'm gonna go ahead and start making this cuff with the curve tool. And of course I make this smaller so that I can do the seam over here. And now I can go ahead and do this. And correct where I go past. Yeah. So this to add some visual interest. Do this arm. And now let's finish off the theme over here. On. Okay, I think that looks decent. Oh yeah, ad break is starting soon. So I'll let the ads go. And once the ads are done, I'll go ahead and fill out the line. Oh no, not fill out the line, fill out the colors. For these parts. Means I'm gonna have to turn off the background layer and the sketch. But let's save the progress and feel free to get up, do some stretches, and like, I'm gonna do that as well. Because I know really I have no subscribers, just followers. So everyone here is probably gonna end up in jail anyway. Let the ads run. I'll see y'all in a few minutes. I love them so much, and they love me as well. And if I do very silly things, I occasionally end up being a little hyper. Holy off. I also I have a project where I have to do a collage. It's a series of collages. Basically a collage telephone. So they're going to a local museum, grab inspiration. I already have a big idea for what I'm gonna do, because I already went to that museum for a project that I did last month. And you know, I think I know what I want to use as inspiration for the first collage. And I am going to iterate on that collage by just making everything subsequently spookier and spookier and more Halloween-y. But I don't know if I'll be able to find anything subsequently substantially Halloween-y in, you know, my collage materials. Also, I'm going to mention this. So, about the thing I'm working on. My kind of idea is I don't know. Why did I was not able to finish this. Wait, hold on. Modern artist rendering. There we go. That's the actual full color that I planned on using. I'm also gonna start doing a little bit of shading as well. Which is... just let me... grab this. No. I should probably... grab... this with the overlay off. I'm gonna... add. So I'm gonna have the lighting be kind of like above, I think. And I'm gonna do some of the rendering. My main idea for this is that I'm going to start off with a preliminary shading, which is gonna be like big swaths of shading. And then I will progressively use smaller amounts of shading. For subsequently deeper parts and stuff. And something else I tend to do is this sort of bunny shading. Or like bunny nose shade for the nose. I don't know. Also turn off the glasses. Go to the rendering. And just so I can grab that one color. For the shading over here. I'm also gonna go grab that a color. For anyone wondering, Skelly, why are you doing some of the rendering when the line art isn't even done? It's simple. I am impatient. And I'm also going to grab the pupil, which I think I'm just gonna put with the face details. But yeah, this is definitely coming together. And I'm gonna have this be that. So I'm gonna turn off the rendering in layers. I'm gonna go merge those down. I'm gonna turn off the easel layer. And I'm gonna start on the pants, the pantalones. Which I think I'm just gonna do a straight leg. Go for this. Because, of course. I'm gonna go with a 5 pixel. Oops, that. There we go. Wait, no. How do I keep fucking it up? And now, same with the other. And now, I can go ahead and begin. Working on the shoe. I'll go ahead and get started on. Then do this. Which I'm just using the curve tool so I don't have to bother too much with figuring out how to draw everything on my own. And also because these are the tools that the software gives me. Right? So, for the shoes, I'm probably going to use the same colors as the eyes and the face. Go ahead. Or 5. So I'm almost done with the line art for all of this, actually. Means after this, all I have to worry about is rendering. Adding all the colors. Just all that sort of stuff. And now I think that is good. Gotta do the little corner thing over here. Which, since these aren't going to be very accentuated in terms of detail, I might just not add a lot of detail to these. Because most of the detail is meant to be with the upper body. Anyway. Go ahead and merge that down. Crackle-lack, a little my neck. And now... Oops. That was not the... And... That was not the tool I planned on using. So... do this. And do that. And once this is done, now I'll just have to worry about the buttons. So I just realized I didn't add the theme line in here. Alright. Theme line has been added. I can push those down. Now I'm gonna add these little triangles. No, not triangles, circles. Actually, hold on. I can literally just copy and paste these. And that is the line art mostly done. I'm gonna grab the color of that. Also gonna put this. And then I will add this. To the color down here. Which I'm just doing this the way that, you know, makes sense. See? And I think I'm also gonna add the lip color that is over here. At the very least, I'm going to add just a sliver of it down here. But yeah, that is definitely adding a lot more detail. Also, the intermission is gonna start in about 5 or so minutes. Which I think me go ahead and do that thing I've been meaning to do. We grab... have this. I'm gonna reduce the opacity. And I plan on doing this, you know, before advertisements happen. And I'm going to trace these a little loosely. Now I can erase this. Now I'm gonna delete that. Actually, I'll keep that. And now let's add the color. And once I finish doing all the rendering that I wanted to do, or that I want to do for this, I will thicken up the lines before I get started on coloring them. Because I think that would be kind of a good way to add detail to this. I don't know. And I'm gonna go ahead and clarify a few lines. But I think this is pretty good. Which means that I can get started on the intermission. And I'll see y'all in a few minutes. back. Hey, buddy, young. And this means it is rendering time. Let me just cross out the line and color from the to-do list. And I'm gonna add a new layer. Which is gonna be the paint splotches. I am gonna go here. I'm going to use some of these little bits of paint. So, I like a little bit. Like all over here. And the reason I am doing this is so that I can just easily see the colors. And let me just grab my sketch. Of the character here. And I have a brush pen. Which gonna add the actually I'm gonna turn the color on. Color layer on. And let's turn on the easel. And I think I'm gonna have this yellow. Go over there. Gonna add a new layer. I also have a bunch of, you know, other brushes and stuff. Which I'm gonna intermittently add some of these. Which I plan on blurring a little bit. And for anyone wondering why I am adding a bunch of, you know, paint marks to this, it's to show that it's being used. And, you know, just isn't just there for show. Which I actually might collect all of this and then I would just do a wash of this to kind of show texture. Because I want to show a little bit of texture with this. And of course, I will reduce the opacity of a good amount of these. Yeah, I just want to show just how messy art can be. And I am also going to go trace. And then you know, plop down all of the colors. Goes back onto here. And I think I might go add some extra colors, like, you know, cadmium red. And mayhaps titanium white. Cadmium yellow. And But yeah. I'm also gonna go ahead and add the color of the buttons as well. And I'm actually gonna go back to the modern artist part. I'll save that. Then gonna go ahead and start doing the shading for here. Which I'm not going to do use my hair shading brush just yet. Because this is just the main shading. So I have, some of the main details here. Of course, I plan on doing the hairline, like, the hair part. And the details are just gonna be added little by little. Because that is how art happens. You start off with smaller details and then it's just a lot of adding details, sometimes having to remove said detail. And just doing that and that until you are eventually done. Or until it is good enough for your intents and purposes. And I don't know if I'm going to add subsurface scattering to this. I might not. But now I'm definitely going to be adding certain things. Go to this. Which I might change the shading color for the smock. Be a different color. What color it'll be, I don't actually know just yet. I'll get to it when I get to it. And one of the other things I plan on adding to this is... Oh. I might add some subsurface scattering, like I did with the modern artist part. You can see these more saturated parts where the shading on the skin ends. That is the subsurface scattering. Oops. Need to do that. But yeah. I'm gonna change this to a cooler color. Like, you know, make it a little more red or something. But I think I'll do this. I think that will look decent. Let me just drink my water real quick. Yeah, I think this is definitely gonna take a good long while. I don't know when I will be finishing this. I know it's definitely gonna be before mid-April. Because I think this is due on April 17th, if I remember right. I think it is due on April 17th, so I have about... like 2.5 weeks left until I have to finish this. And when that happens... color is this movie. Like that. Right? So the first bit of shading, you just add this. Eventually I will add the hair shade. Just gonna do this real quick. I think this is done. At least when it comes to the shading. So clearly this is a different color than the pants here, because the color here is more saturated. I'm gonna go with a cooler shade for that. That was an oops. I'll have to do it by hand. And I'm also gonna do this. And I think that means this is mostly done. I started starting in a few minutes, so I'm gonna start with the hair shade. Is hold on. Just define the part. Now I'm gonna rotate this. Ad break is starting soon. Thank you very much, Seribot, for informing the chat. You're a very good bot. Now, select, rotate the other way, and then you do this. I think this looks decent. Let me go ahead, add some of the shading over here. Then Ad jail has begun. My deepest condolences for everyone in Ad jail. I shall stop what I am doing and wait for ads to end. Ugh. Yeah. Actually, let me go turn on the background. Anyway, welcome back from ads. And there is one thing that I'm doing. A class, my in-person class for context. One of the things that we are doing for the class is we are doing a collage. And I offered to grab like a bunch of things that are just staying in my room, my American Girl magazines, and all of my yarn from back when I wanted to make custom dolls. Obviously, I never actually was able to do that. It would be nice to do that eventually. But because of all that hobby especially, I have a bunch of yarn and stuff that I just have laying around various parts of my room. So I thought, you know what, I can get a bag, I can place all this stuff in here, then I can like bring it to my class tomorrow so that everyone can have a bunch of materials for their collage. I don't know if anyone else is bringing materials for the class, but I remember that I actually have a classmate, and they apparently collect, you know, Pokemon card art. And I mentioned to them that my favorite Pokemon is Alcremie, and they offered to give me a Pokemon card art of Alcremie, which I accepted. What does that goddamn cat want? Yeah, I'm also gonna go look through my fabric drawer and all my fabric. See what I can also go put in the bag. And I need to get another one just for the fabric. But as long as someone is able to use it, and I'm perfectly fine with giving it away. And have a bunch of ribbon as well that I have yet to use at all. So I might use that and donate it to my classmate, to the classroom for my professor and the like. But anyway, I think I might go ahead and add a little bit of shading here. Start adding highlights. I think I'll add some highlights now. Which, for context, this is the highlights I did for the previous first part of the project. And I gotta do try and have the highlights be the same. I'm looking. which they go ahead and blur. And I'm probably also going to add some highlights and stuff to the skin and stuff, which I'll add. I'll actually add a rim light. Let me actually do the add glow first. And the rim light for here, I'm probably going to make it a very low opacity. And I'm probably going to mess around with a bunch of filters and stuff as well. When it comes to this sort of stuff. And yeah. I don't actually remember where the, highlight is meant to go, but based on what I've done over here, I think it's gonna be around, like, coming from over here. So I'm gonna go ahead and add that. I'll do this for the buttons as well. But yeah, I probably also need to start doing the rendering for this part as well. Table. Actually, hold on. I'll just do that and fill. And I'll get started on the actual shading. just replace the color temporarily. Alright, that works. I think I might start off with just turn off the table line and then let me actually then oops. That was a crop. Go ahead and do the erase selection as well. Then fill. Which I'm gonna clip the shade, second shade there. Which I think I'll change the table color to black. And I'll change it back once I'm done. Alright. And I think I'm going to copy the whole thing here, flatten it, and then do a bit of a Gaussian blur. Or most likely. So that's probably most likely what I'm gonna end up doing. And I'm gonna go use I think And I think after this, I'm gonna add some of the color to the easel so that I can do the rendering for that. But for now, I'm just gonna focus on this whole thing. I plan on using plenty of the blur tool for this as well. Right? Now I just gotta blur everything. Then blur that. Hello, Pesh Pesh. What's up? What is up indeed? I am doing well. Right now, I am just doing some rendering on a chair. Not chair, table. This music is very hype. Yeah. Now let's reapply the table line. I'm also going to, you know, do the airbrush. I'll actually do kind of like this. Yeah, the intermission is gonna start in a few minutes, which I use as kind of like a brain break. But this is the current progress I have. I still need to do the highlights for the figure's hair and add some more shading to the buttons. And then I have to do the coloring, the flat colors, and the shading for this, along with the highlights. Then the vase, I have to do the shading for. And then it'll be done. Which, for context, this is the first part I did. Okay, E, that looks fire. Yeah, this took me 8 hours, like almost 8 hours total to do, and I'm not done. I plan on adding like some stuff to the walls here to make it look less blank. Probably some of my own art. And then I gotta fix the shading here. Some posters, yeah. Which I plan on having be my own art, most likely. Then I might do some reflective shading around here. Awesome sauce. But yeah. I'm really glad as to what I've done so far. With everything. There is something else I want to do if I have the time. Which is something I plan on selling. You know, as an asset. And there's some other things I have done that I'm currently working on. And yes, last night I actually finished a commission. My first ever commission. And it was unironically for my brother. He is deadass the first person who commissioned me. Because he wanted me to draw him a logo that he didn't want to pay for, but he was willing to pay me. Yeah, that's lovely though. Yeah. I plan once I add, you know, a watermark to it, being like, the only person allowed to use this is the person who paid me. And I'll make the watermark as annoying as I can. I'll post it to my Ko-fi, possibly, but definitely my VGen. Because my brother, originally my brother wanted me to, so the thing he wanted me to draw for him, he showed it to me. It was like from like Shutterstock or something, and it was like this edgy thing with the site, I think. And he was just like, my sister's an artist, she can draw it for me. And I was just like, absolutely not. You are getting a cat and a football and you are going to like it. So I drew a cat and a football and he ended up liking it. He asked if I could like add a scythe or something, but I was just like, nah, I don't want to do that. It would kind of clash with the other things as well anyway. But he gave me $40 in cash, which I actually plan on using to buy an autograph for my cousin, who is graduating this year from high school and heading off to college. Congrats to him. Yeah. He's the first cousin on that side of the family to graduate from high school because his brothers are younger than me and I only have one blood relative on my dad's side who is, you know, my dad's sibling. But yeah. So technically I've done my first ever commission, which I'll eventually edit the thing so that I can post it to my socials and stuff. But of course I have to make sure I have a watermark and text on it. It's saying that the only person allowed to use this is the person who commissioned me. It might be a little hard to kind of like start making a commission portfolio. I've been kind of doing that. But of course, I don't have a lot of like fully rendered things. Last year, I actually started making some example, like icon examples for my commissions, which includes this. And then I also have this. This is my Transformers OC Subiector. Because I put in my list of things I can draw being like Transformers mecha. And I was just like, I don't actually have an example of Transformers mecha on my VGen. So I decided to do that. But anyway, ads are starting soon. So I'm going to close everything. And I'm going to go ahead and begin the intermission. I'll return once the ads are done. I'm going to use this as a break. To, like, use the bathroom, stretch and stuff, walk around. Feel free to use this as a break as well. And I'll be back in a few minutes. I'm back. Time. And now I'm gonna go ahead and get back to this. Which gonna do the highlights that I usually do. They're kind of like this. Gonna end up being blurred anyway, so don't need to be super precise. I'm gonna go ahead. Continue this with the rest of the head. Here. Then 1 and 2. Now, do the other side. I'm actually gonna grab the selection pen for this. I don't want to bother doing the same thing again. Let's rotate. And start in the shape. Now... and... we go. Go ahead and do this for the rest of these. Now start off with the big shape. Now add the I think. Hello, Fluffington! And hello, I hope you enjoy your stay here. I am just rendering. At least making an attempt to rendering. Is it gonna look the best that it'll ever be? Probably not. How's it going? It's going quite well. I am getting closer and closer to returning to my usual stream schedule. Is, you know, from Monday to Friday. Because I have a little over... I have like a month left of... A little over a month left of my semester. Oh, nice. Yeah. And I've actually been getting ahead of some of my assignment work and all that, so I might be able to finish it sooner. But I am planning on taking a break. Take the week that my semester ends, so that I can, you know, get back to my usual waking up schedule. Because I've had to do a pretty big change in my, you know, waking up times. Which, for context, I usually wake up at like noon. That is when I wake up on my streaming days. However, because of my in-person class for this semester, I've had to wake up at 11 so that I could get to class on time. Because my class starts at 12:30. Which I usually try to leave my house and get to class as half an hour before the class begins. And then I wake up an hour before I have to go to the class in question. So for me, I've been waking up at 11 instead of 12. And for the days I've dedicated to my assignments, I've been waking up at 12:30. No, not 12:30, 11:30. Because half an hour is easier to adjust my wake up times to than it is an hour. So, unfortunately, it is around the time that I need to start registering for my classes for next semester. I plan on trying to take at least 4, because that will make me a full-time student. I might take 5 depending on what prerequisites I need for my other classes. Because I plan on transferring to a 4-year university sometime next year. Which is way more expensive. It's like 5-6 times more expensive than my university. No, not my university, my community college. There is a class I need to get permission for. Now I'll have to figure out how to do that. Because it's a communications workshop. But yeah. Once I figure all that out, I will figure out, you know, what I'll do for my streams and that stuff. But yeah. It's very difficult. You know, trying to adjust my sleeping schedule. I can't wait until I graduate and get my degree. Can't wait for the day I can graduate from university. Yeah. It is pretty difficult. I've been surviving to the best of my ability. And unfortunately, depending on what I have for the next... what classes I take for the next semester, I might have to wake up at like 8 in the morning. Again. Which I don't want to do. I have lost the ability to be a morning person after I graduated high school years ago. Because I used to be able to, you know, get up at 6 a.m. For school. And now I can't really do that now. Used to wake up around 5? I knew some people who had to wake up at 5 a.m. in order to get to the bus because they were not in the zoning for my high school because of a very specific program that was pretty much just made to increase the GPA for the school. So some of my classmates had to get up at like 5 a.m. as it would take like 40 minutes to, you know, get to the school. Which I almost had to do because originally I planned on going to an academy that was, you know, in a different school zone. But then I chose to apply to the one that was gonna be my school anyway. Yeah, your school was an hour bus ride away. Oof. Yeah. At this point in my life, I think it's like really weird to have, you know, high schoolers wake up at like 6 in the morning in order to get to their classes. I think it's a little weird for now. Like, it seems a little cruel. To do that to a bunch of students who are, you know, a lot of them have jobs and stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and blur some of these. Let me do this real quick. Yeah. Especially, you know... But, yeah, I'm glad that I no longer have to wake up at 6 in the morning at all. Oh, for my classes. I still do occasionally wake up at 6 a.m., but it's usually for a different reason. Like, you know, if I wake up with a bunch of postnasal drip. And I know, hey, something's wrong. I should not be up at this hour. But yeah. I think I'm gonna go ahead and make a new folder. Which is just gonna be all this rendering. And the like. And clip that. I'm gonna grab the largest color. And fill it in. And now we can do this whole thing. Go for the hair. I don't remember the color for the lips that I used for the modern artist. I'll likely have to go grab that real quick. But I'm gonna do the rest of the stuff here first. Yeah. So, once I am done with all this, I'm gonna go ahead and start working on the easel. Because the easel needs to be colored. And I need to do some of the shading and highlights for that as well. And this over here. And I think the pennant color here is the same as the... No. Over here. I'll actually put that back to 100%. And... yeah. I might need to go check the student and information system again after stream. But I know that I plan on during my little break between in my semester ending and my full return to stream that I am planning on registering for all of the classes I need to take. So that, I don't have to worry about it. Then, set up the payment plan for my tuition. So that the only thing I have to worry about is making sure I'm able to get started on everything. Anyway, Agile, sorry everyone. I'm gonna continue working on this though. Is this the same as this? It's not. Let me go ahead and grab the color from that. Gonna this. Then here. Line. Same as this. Okay, it is. Oh. That. Metal part. And welcome back from ads. And once I'm done doing all of this over here, I might go ahead and start working on the, the easel. Let me grab the color from here. I'll do the second layer of shading later. I right now want to focus on getting the line art for this part done. Well, the line color, that is. I really like adding, color to my line art. I think it adds a bit more depth than if I just leave it like it is. I'll do that. I think. No, I think that is this color. There we go. Now let's go to the rendering. And turn down the opacity of that. Let's add a little blur down here. I think the main figure now is mostly done. Of course, I need to add the second shade. I think that can happen later. Just gonna cross out the rendering in my to-do list for now. Now it is time for the easel. I'm gonna turn off the background I'll grab this from the figure, and then remove the figure. Which, this is the 3D reference. I'm gonna have the easel be the same color as the wood. Or at least do my best to make sure it is the same color as the wood over on the table. Now, back up. And add this color is gonna be the color of the canvas. And go ahead and grab my references for the color palette. I think I do have a brass color. I think I'll use this. So it appears I forgot to do a line over here. That real quick. And now go ahead and grab that. It appears I forgot to actually add the line. But anyway. Right? I'm gonna go ahead and fill this in. And the first thing I'm going to add after I clean up all these lines of the color here is I'm going to do the color of the lines. Uh, Alright. That is done. I am going to go ahead and start off with the main color, which is gonna be that. Then go ahead on these. Also correct the accented color. On the layer. Right? Now, lay up. Now, canvas. Um, And now for the brass color. Now that I'm pretty much almost done with the line here, I can get started on rendering some of the shading. Alright? Means gotta start doing this. I'm gonna this. And so we're almost at the final hour of stream and the final intermission of the stream as well. Which I will do all this line work. For the shading. Alright. Now it is time to fill in all the colors for everything. So I'm gonna go finish all this. And then I'll be close to finished this whole thing. Which I think I'll do something a little different with shading. I'll do it around there and there. Mm. Right? I'm gonna grab that, this, fill in the shading in these parts as well. And I'll have it at 50%. And there we go. I think this is very close to being finished. However, I still have some things I need to do, specifically over here. Which I'm gonna do. I'm gonna blur all of this as well. Right. Now 75%. And yeah. I'm almost done with this. I might add some final bits of overlay with the gradient or something. Possibly add some here. And now, let's get started on the second round of shading. And now... There we go. Oops. Right? And now... Go. I think I'll add the subsurface scattering that I did to the first part for this that I did, mostly because I just don't feel like doing it right now. Anyway, I'll see y'all in a few minutes. Alright, I'm back. I'm just gonna go and walk in on the thing that I'm doing. Gonna go ahead and start blurring everything else. Also, let me quickly grab the lip color. That's done. But yeah, I think this is pretty much done. I think I'm going to duplicate this and just make it all, I don't know, this color, I guess. Just do this, I guess. Just gonna quickly fill in all the parts. Which now I'm going to place it. Okay, hold on. Edit, transform. And, this is probably not the best way to do this. There is probably a better way to do this thing. And I don't know what it is, so I'm just doing this. But this is good enough. And I think I'm gonna do the same with the color here as well. Let me just do some things real quick. But yeah. There we go. Now is I'm gonna oh. It appears I may have messed some up. And this. So I'm gonna quickly fix it. And once this is done, I will distort this. And now, go ahead and just contort this. Gonna try the blur tool. Here. Do a little bit of a stylization thing. Then merge them down. 60% opacity. And now I think it's just overlay time, I think. I'm gonna use overlay, I think. No. I'm gonna do a gradient. Alright. Decrease the opacity. Get very low. But yeah, I think this is pretty much done. I might add some more detail if I feel unsatisfied with the current amount of detail I have. But yeah, I think I can finally consider this part done. Or at least mostly done. Of course, I might do some other things with it after stream. But let me go check something real quick on my canvas. My calendar. There is one thing that I'm gonna submit probably like after stream or like after I go to the store. Okay, so the thing I was working on, the project is due April 19th. Which is, funnily enough, also a day where I am going to be working on stuff. And I also have a final project for one of my classes that I need to do, along with, you know, do discussions for my short story class. But I think that is something I can worry about later. So I'm going to mention something. So, for context, last week I had to go to the endodontist to get one of my teeth checked out. Because I need to get a root canal. And the root canal is scheduled for this Thursday. Which I don't plan on doing too much that day. So I only have 2 days dedicated to assignment instead of my usual 3. Of course, once tomorrow hits, some more assignments are going to be published, and I'll try to work on those when I have the time. But the discussion that I need to do for one of my classes is opening up tomorrow. So, yeah. Do what to do. I'm not really sure what to do now. Because, I finished the thing that I planned on doing. Also, ads are gonna happen in 4 minutes. So I think I'll use the ad time to look at some references or something. So, ads are gonna start in a little bit. I'll use that as an opportunity to gather some reference stuff. Oh. Not what I meant to do. Right. So I'm gonna wait for ads to happen. And then once that's done, I'm gonna start working on something new. So the next stream that's gonna happen is gonna be April 4th. I'll be playing Little Witch in the Woods. Hopefully by then I will no longer be having pain in that tooth. Then, of course, I have the outlines that I need to do next week on Sunday. But, yeah. I think I'm gonna start ads now, actually. I'll see y'all in a few minutes. And once done with stream, I'll next week. That sort of stuff. I'll grab some more of the and on playing class for the project. 4. Yeah. I don't know if I'll work on my project, my in-person class on. If I do, it's gonna have to be on cam. I'm not fully sure what exactly. I need to look all my things. Acquire. Then done. That's the final project for the whole class, I think I have. So now I'll likely have to go find my second project. I don't remember where it is. It might still be in my bag. Knows. Yeah. But yeah. Might end up being pretty swarmed with assignments and stuff, so depending on the stream, might not be able to do much at all. Like, I might have to cancel some of my streams around the end of the semester, so that I can get some of this stuff done on time. But anyway, go ahead. Start working on a thing. Do a header. All right. I'm gonna look through all of my assets because there is something I want to do. A specific pattern I want to use. didn't realize I have this. Huh. I think I'll try and find something different. Argyle? I'm gonna look through this as well. Oh, there is also a monochrome, a card pattern. Color. I think I'm gonna make the background either red or gold. Let me go fire this thing. Because use this as fill. Fill. And fill. And the colors here seem to fit the colors of the dorm anyway. But I don't really know which of these I will use. Because this fits more with, you know, the theme of the dorm. But this, I can then make it different colors. That, or I could do like a, hey, check this color. So that is just a pure red. Then I could do like a color thing and then use red here. Or probably like over here. Then like mess a little with some of the colors so that it's not just straight up red. I don't know. I think I can also go with this as a potential color for the background. Of course, I might also have to purchase some things, like, you know, this. But I'm gonna go ahead and save this. Drawing. And the second one I'll do, I think I'll do Ignihide. Or maybe Diasomnia. Possibly. Not sure. So grab that. New file. And background, I am just going to use a bucket tool and just get that. And the highlight, the color is probably going to be the, you know, some kind of like geometric pattern. Because I don't plan on using just random just texture. I want to try and theme them based on the dorm. Because the one thing that I will have changed with these is the character. I could do the noise. But I think I'm gonna look through all of these. I think the hexagons could work. But of course, the main issue is that this just takes up everything. So, might not go with that after all. I actually have downloaded some cyberpunk themed brushes and stuff. Might use those. Actually, let me look through my downloads. I'll have to figure out something. Maybe gradation dots would work. And I can this maybe. I don't know. I'll have to figure something out. I'll figure it out for that later. I think I'm gonna scroll through all of these. I find it really funny that there's just an asset called Ethnic Line. I just find it really funny. This could work. Just do a thing. Not sure. I don't know. But yeah. I think I'm gonna end stream now. So I was able to get one major thing done, which yippee for me. I was able to get started on something else. Yeah, next stream is going to be a Little Witch in the Woods. We're going to continue working on exploring the Charlotte Cave. And possibly continue trying to 100% everything in the New Cloud Valley. And then after that, I will be working on some chapter outlines for my novel. But over the week, I am going to just try to lock in and work on as many of my classwork things as I can. I don't think I'll be able to get anything done on Thursday because of my endodontist appointment with my root canal and all that. So obviously I won't be able to get much done because I'm pretty sure by the time I am done, I'll just want to sleep. Likely. But after that, I'll hopefully be able to lock in and get some more stuff done. But yeah. I'll see y'all on Saturday. Bye, y'all!